Okay, here's an update of what I've been up to. This storage and generator area is coming along. I installed two combination marine start deep cycle batteries, and they're being charged through a 40 amp battery charger, which is run off of a propane generator. I went with this Ryobi propane generator because it'll run most of the day, if not all day, probably several days, on a large tank, so I don't have to refuel it every hour, every 2-3 hours. And so and then the propane, it lasts indefinitely. If I don't need the generator, I don't have to worry about the gas going bad or gunking up the carburetor or anything like that. And so what I plan on doing is running this generator with the doors closed, so it'll be a little bit quieter. And one of the things I wanted to do was plumb the exhaust out of the compartment. Now the compartment is going to be fully vented, as I showed in an earlier video. I installed a screened louver vent in the door to pull in air, and then I'm going to disassemble this fan that I bought at the local big box store and take it out of the case that I don't need, and then attach it to the louver assembly, so that anytime the generator is running, the fan will turn on and pull in cool air. And then there'll be two different vents to remove the air. This one still needs to be sanded and painted, and there's one on the other side. I would have wanted to go a little bit higher with the vents, but the problem I ran into is I would have to start cutting into this this section where the panels are joined, and I didn't want to do that. So if this assembly is still, or the system runs too warm with this air conditioner and generator going, I can put in some vents in the very top of the roof. So, and then over the top of the whole van, I'm going to have some type of plywood deck for mounting solar panels and storage boxes and whatnot. And so these vents, even if I was to just use plain screens, cut holes and put plain screens in here, they would be shielded from the rain by the cargo deck. I'm running, I installed a battery charging system so that with a continuous duty solenoid, so that when the vehicle's engine is running, it will charge these batteries also. And so there's a 60 amp circuit breaker on each side of this, the wire that connects this battery with the house battery. And so if the wire was to short out anywhere in between, it would be protected. What I did when running that wire is I used irrigation tubing that I had, and then I ran the wire through that to keep it protected. Let me open up this hood here. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, here's the continuous duty solenoid. And it's being fed off of an accessory position on the switch. So whenever the key is in the accessory or the on position, this solenoid will energize and send power back to the other battery. Here is the irrigation tubing that I use to protect the wire from chafing. And it's fed also from a 60 amp circuit breaker here. So the solenoid has its own fuse protection from the source that I got. Let's see, what else have I done. There's an inverter here. It's a rather large inverter. It's a 3500 watt pure sine wave inverter, and I can run things like microwave ovens and air conditioners and whatnot off of it. And this generator is powerful enough to run the air conditioning unit directly, or I can run it through the inverter. Running it directly, there would be less losses because there's a loss factor when it runs through the inverter, and the generator would be powering the battery charger, which does have a loss factor, and then the battery charger would be feeding the inverter, and the inverter has a loss factor. So if I can if I can run the air conditioner directly off of this generator, I think that's the way to go. But if I want to run something larger that this generator won't power, something in excess of 700 watts continuous, I can run it through this inverter, and the extra power will come out of the batteries. So if, like say as an example, I'm running an 1100 watt microwave oven, some of the energy would come out of the generator, and some of it would come out of the batteries. And then when after 5-10 minutes the microwave shuts off, the generator would recharge the batteries. So the batteries would be acting as a shock absorber for the heavy loads. I wanted to show you also this hack that I'm doing to get the exhaust out of this compartment area. And what I did is, this had a small hose clamp holding a screen in place. So I removed that, and then I wrapped this exhaust nipple with Teflon tape, because Teflon can withstand some high temperatures. And then I'm using this the shielding that they use for electrical for wires, house wires. It's called BX cable. You can buy it by the foot, empty, just with this cable, and then I put an end on it and then the washer. And the ends are also readily available at the big box stores, and they just screw in place. And then I put electrical washer on it. And there's a little bit of a gap in between this and the back cover, so to hold this in place, I got a silicone funnel, and I cut the pieces out of it to make like a little adapter that'll keep this in place. So with this cover on and screwed into place, that silicone funnel keeps the exhaust in place. I've plumbed the exhaust for the generator out the back of the door, and then it comes up, and then it comes out into the rim of the tire area. It doesn't have a whole lot of exhaust coming out, so it's not going to be detrimental to the rubber on the tire or anything. And then as I close the door, I can take up some of the slack here so that the piping has a more gentle fit with no sharp bends. If this BX shielding is severely bent, it will crack and open up. It's that exhaust is mostly to get the heat from the exhaust out of the compartment. I'm not too worried about carbon monoxide because this is a fully vented area and it's sealed from the living area. So I don't see that as being a problem. I'll go ahead and start up the generator. This is going to take 2 hands. Hang on. It's not terribly noisy from the outside here, but I may want to do some better soundproofing. You know, put some insulation in the doors. Right now the air conditioning unit is turned on. I heard the generator change a little bit, so the compressor probably just kicked on. The reason it was important for me to have the air conditioner in here to begin with is I have a small dog and I live in southern Nevada, so the sun is brutal here, and if I was to go grocery shopping with her in the van or whatever, I couldn't just leave her in the van, and I can't take her in the grocery store. So I need to have a way of keeping her cool, and so I tried using these lights that they sell at the big box store for under kitchen counters, and all 3 of them burned out. I don't think that the lights could tolerate the higher voltage of the battery charger or the vehicle's alternator. They're meant to run off of a transformer, and that strictly puts out 12 volts period. It doesn't go any higher. So I've ordered new lights, and I just have to go ahead and put those in. So just a heads up, yeah, these little puck lights aren't gonna hack it if you want to put them in a van. The ones that are made for kitchen under kitchen cabinets and things. Oh, I think the compressor just kicked on again. But the generator definitely carries the load.